Hi, this is Annie from the ADHD Minimalist, and before I put this bag away, I just realized that it didn't get put away from our trip to England. It was still sitting kind of out of sight, out of mind, but I was just going to show you this. This is my absolute favorite rolling carry-on bag that also becomes a backpack that also has a day pack that you can zip off. And this is actually, I don't know if you recognize these dots, but it's something that IKEA produced several years ago. And I don't know if they still produce these bags, but you can buy similar ones. But just the whole concept was something that we really enjoyed and used over and over again. I bought this new when my youngest was a baby, because I was going on a trip to the States. Actually, my grandma died. She was like 80, I think 86, and had not been doing very well for a couple of years. So it wasn't a surprise, but still it's like very final when somebody dies. And so, and then like a lot of my family, extended family that I hadn't seen for many, many years, because some of them live in other countries as well. And I live in another country. And so I felt like it was important to go back and see everybody. And so I didn't know how I was going to manage having a baby that I needed to have on my front. Like, she was sitting in like the baby Bjorn, little carrier thing. And then I was going to have to, at some point, be able to roll my bag, but maybe I needed to have it on my back sometimes. And so I ended up buying this. And right now the extra piece, I believe, is in the bag. Like, this is the front piece that has a place for your computer in here, and then more like things like your passport and your phone and there. And then you can zip this all up, and this can be a day pack, but you can also zip it onto the front of this. So it did get rather fat. And so I did have one time a stewardess, she was like, I think you're gonna have to check that under the plane. That looks like your carry-on is way too big. And then I explained to her that you zip off the front bag, and that's the one that you put under your seat, and the other one goes above. And then she was like, oh, that's fine. So I didn't ever have any trouble with people like checking it under the flight or something, so I had to wait for it. And my daughter's been using this a lot, and so when we get where we're going, she'll just repack this little bag as her day pack. But when we're on the flight, she'll have all of her stuff, like her Nintendo Switch will be in here, and her phone and whatever other entertainment things that she needs for the flight, and maybe some snacks. So that is a really great part of the bag. But then, like I said, you can zip it off. What is that? Some kind of a paper. And the inside just looks like this. It's just pretty empty, and it has this bar in the back, which is the thing that you open here to roll it. And it's not like, I don't know, it's maybe not quite as stable as the ones that have the two bars, but I've been using this. What did I say? My youngest was a baby, so she's gonna turn 9 at the end of the summer. So this was at least 8 years ago. She wasn't walking at this point, I don't think so. Probably more than 8 years ago. And so this has been traveling with us for a lot of years, and it's been holding up really well. It has a little pocket here on the side, which I think is probably the idea is for, you can see that. It's like a mesh thing here. I think this is maybe to hide your passport, honestly. Other than that, it doesn't really, this part doesn't really have any pockets. It does have one of these straps that you can strap stuff down, which I find useful sometimes. And then it has one pocket here that I sometimes put underwear or something in. If I'm packing all of my clothes and everything for the trip in this carry-on bag, then that can be helpful. It also has, let's see, these snaps, so that if you don't have a lot of stuff in it, you can try to like squish it together. And then it, like I said, it rolls. And if you have the front backpack on and you just want it to stand up better, then you can pull that out. And the backpack straps are in here, and you just pull those out, and then you can use the Velcro here to make sure that sticks where it's supposed to go, and then you put it on here. And honestly, when I got back from the States, I felt like I would not have survived with a baby without this bag. And it was just very versatile. I mean, like if I needed to go up or down a flight of stairs. Like we got off one plane and we had to walk downstairs, and there might have been an elevator somewhere, but there was so many people waiting for it. So I just put this on my back and walked down. It was much more comfortable than trying to like conk the thing down the stairs with the baby on my front. It just felt more balanced, and didn't feel like I was gonna like fall down the stairs with the baby at that point. But I mean, like in some other instances when I wanted to have like just my really important things on me, I could put this on my back. And so I seriously was like trying to go to the bathroom with this on my back with like my important papers and my baby on my front sometimes, because some of the bathrooms didn't even have anywhere to hang the little backpack or anything, and you kind of feel like the floor is gross. And but it worked. It did work, and we made it there. We made it back, and although I did have a small heart attacks on the way home because I was waiting for my Swedish citizenship papers to come through, and so I flew out on my American passport, and on the way back through, like I hadn't got a Swedish passport yet, so I'm trying to get back in the country, and I don't have any of I guess I didn't stamp it in a way that showed them that I had a permanent. I was able to stay in Sweden as long as I want, but I wasn't a citizen, and so like going from this like the permission that I had to like the citizenship, it was still processing. And anyway, somehow like I fell between some kind of, I don't know, like they just didn't know what to do with me really, so they kept like taking me aside, and they were like, we have to look at your papers again, and like and you have a ticket into Sweden, but you don't have a ticket home again, and kept trying to explain to them that I live there. And then eventually they would just let me go, but like we stopped 2 or 3 times from different flights on the way back, and they kept taking me to the side, and I was like, oh no, what if I don't get home? But I did eventually get home, so that was great, and I was so happy that I had this bag. It sort of saved the day. So I just wanted to show that to you really quick before I put it away, because I know a lot of you were interested in bags, and we used this bag as well in the summertime when we went to California, and we couldn't check any bags because after Corona there was chaos at the airports in Arlanda in Sweden, and so some people were missing their flights, and it was because they couldn't hire enough people to work the security fast enough, because they had to do all these background checks and stuff. And during Corona, they had like let a lot of people go. And so there was this like time where it was just a complete chaos. And so we were afraid we're going to miss our flight if we checked the bags. So we packed everything for 5 weeks in our carry-ons. And my daughter used this, and she made it 5 weeks. All of her clothes were in there, and all of her entertainment things and everything was in this carry-on bag and that little extra zip-on backpack on the front. So it actually swallows quite a lot, to be perfectly honest. But we did like fold things really flat and kind of like packed it in there. But it's a really great bag. If you're trying to pack light and you just want to have like one bag, I would really suggest that bag. I just wanted to say I was really excited today because I don't know how long Etsy's actually been available in Sweden, but I just discovered that it was available I don't know, maybe a month ago. And so yesterday I sat down and started like working on my Etsy store, because I sort of had a hobby of sewing things. And so I've made these, and they're all in the Etsy store. I just was really excited, so I want to show you. Like they're kind of just like a 60s inspired girls dresses. And this one is gray with, it has actually X's on it, I think, almost like a graphic design. And this one's a pink one. That one's a little bit bigger. And then I have this one, is one of my favorites, and they're all made out of these retro materials that I got from a friend when her parents died. They found a bunch of material in their attic, I think it was. And so I got inspired to sew. These are a little bit 60s inspired in the design, but they're also retro material. And so these are all out on my Etsy shop, which is called R Retro, which I have had a business that is actually, we live close to a place called Ora, and it's an A with an O on top. So it was called Ora Retro, but in English it ends up being R, like A-R-E, and then retro, which is a little bit funny, and it's all one word. But you can look that up if you're interested in looking in my shop. And feel free to go over to the ADHDminimalist.com for more inspiration on trips to take your kids on, And like I've even had some articles about safety for kids with ADHD on certain trips, some in the States and some outside the States, and some other things like how to declutter your children's rooms, or even just generally decluttering your home when you don't know where to start. So the best way to find stuff is to go up to the right hand corner and there's a search function and just to search there. So I hope you guys have a really great day. Bye.